Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuning in today. First, I'd like to acknowledge the wonderful people who are on with us today, who we'll hear from shortly. But first, we have Hannah and Catherine Berryan. We have attorney March Gallagher. We have Barry Dane, who's the board president of the Brain Injury Association of New York State. And we have Hurley Town Board member Peter Humphreys, all on the screen with us today. As I said, we'll hear from them shortly and all of the incredible work they're doing in this space. But I'd like to start today with telling you a little bit about Hannah Berryan, whose experience trying to access local health services for her traumatic brain injury has been nothing short of a nightmare. In 2014, Hannah was just 16 years old when a texting driver struck her while she was crossing the street in the town of Ulster. Because of that accident, Hannah, who is now 23 years old, struggles with a traumatic brain injury that requires 24/7 care. Hannah's mom, Catherine, who is Hannah's primary caregiver, has been in a 6-year fight to get her daughter the specialized long-term care that she needs. When my office first began working with Catherine in collaboration with local attorney March Gallagher, it was immediately clear that there were many systemic failures in the state's delivery of TBI care that have left the Berryan family in dire straits, struggling on their own. Ultimately, because of the severe lack of TBI services here in the Hudson Valley, Hannah and Catherine have had to move to Long Island, where Hannah will have access to the support she needs locally. We are incredibly grateful that Hannah and Catherine now have a path forward, but it should never have come to this. It is nothing short of a tragedy to watch a local family forced to leave their home, forced to leave our home here in the Hudson Valley because of the severe lack of health services available in our area. And yet, that's the reality that too many upstate families are facing, and we're here to take action to change that. We're all here today because we wanted to create a future in which no New Yorker is forced to choose between their home and their healthcare. For those who aren't familiar, TBI results from a sudden jolt or blow to the head and presents in a myriad of physical and neurobehavioral symptoms. TBI is a unique and complicated condition for every individual. Some people may never know they even have a TBI, they've sustained a brain injury, while others will require a lifetime of 24/7 support. Regardless of whether you sustain a mild concussion because of a sports-related injury or are severely wounded in a car accident that forever alters the direction of your life, a person diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury or TBI should be able to access the quality care they need close to home. A few statistics. According to the CDC, an estimated 2.5 million people sustain a traumatic brain injury annually, making TBI a leading cause of disability and death in the United States. The situation is even worse for adults and children living in rural areas who are more likely to die from a TBI because of healthcare barriers, which including the grueling administrative difficulties and long delays in receiving TBI-related care. I wish personally that I could share some recent data with you on the TBI situation here in New York. But in our research, we have found that the Department of Health actually stopped publicizing data on TBIs as recently as 2014. It's clear that this is a rural and an upstate health issue that needs to be immediately addressed. Our scientific understanding of TBI is constantly developing, and we need to make sure that our response at the state level is continuing to develop with that, and we're improving alongside it. The New York State Department of Health and the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, or OPWDD, are the two state agencies primarily responsible for serving New Yorkers who have been diagnosed with a TBI. The responsibility rests with these agencies to ensure that we close the TBI care gap in the Hudson Valley and in communities across New York State, and to improve the care and delivery system so that people like Hannah can live the best quality of life possible in their homes and in their communities. Because of this story, and because of what we've heard and experienced and learned through Catherine and Hannah's stories and their struggles, we have written a bill that will become the first statutorily mandated comprehensive study on the regional delivery of services for TBI care in New York State. Our bill requires DOH, the Department of Health, and OPWDD to evaluate the following: the regional disparities in care that are leaving entire communities behind, like the Hudson Valley, the quality of TBI service delivery and training that training providers receive, emerging trends in TBI to improve our understanding, and the administrative process for approving and denying requested services to ensure that people get the answers they need quickly. These are all challenges that we have seen just from working with Hannah and Catherine, and something that Hannah and Catherine have experienced firsthand time and time again. Across New York State, we have so many incredible local organizations and rehabilitation centers that serve people with disabilities. But if providers don't deliver TBI specific care, or if they do and families don't have access to the transportation opportunities or have the financial means to access those services, people like Hannah get left behind. These are issues that we need to know more about. With this study, we will illuminate the areas in which we can improve and expand TBI services in New York, and also where we can direct more services to ensure that DOH and OPWDD are serving our TBI population at the highest level. Now, it is my honor to have Hannah Berryan and her mother, Catherine, here with us today. I'd like to quickly, before we turn it over to them, recognize both Hannah and Catherine for their strength, their resolve, and their determination to fight for these services that Hannah needs and deserves. Without them, this is a subject matter that would not be as elevated in this area as it is, and we owe them a great deal of gratitude and support to make to really ensure that this conversation has now been elevated to the forefront. I'd like now to welcome Hannah and Catherine.
Hi. Thank you so much, Senator Hinchey. We appreciate that. I just wanted to give a little insight into our journey. So 7 years ago, our lives changed forever. I thought our fight would be saving Hannah's life, but sadly, that was not the case. Upon being released home, our journey would really begin. It's been 6 years since Hannah has been home. It's been 6 years since Hannah has received TBI services and supports. OPWDD is the waiver program assigned to provide TBI services to facilitate Hannah's recovery. Unfortunately, OPWDD has refused to produce brain injury forward training, programming, services, or supports. We have repeatedly requested written denial letters, but they have refused. Hannah's doctors and team experts have requested a seizure dog for Hannah with overwhelming medical support, but OPWDD once again denied it. The organization set up to protect and elevate my daughter's rehabilitation has grossly underserved her. After many years of standing up for Hannah's rights on my own, Attorney March Gallagher and Senator Michelle Hinchey entered our journey. It was then that a true understanding of how gray the laws in this organization are and how they don't promote the client's recovery. My daughter's accident was not an opportunity, but an obligation to protect the people in New York State with brain injuries, suffering like we were forced to do. I could not go quietly. I needed this injustice to be heard. Senator Michelle Hinchey took Hannah's complaint very seriously. Senator Hinchey's office has worked tirelessly to create Bill S-7356. Hannah has only ever wanted to be seen and acknowledged as a relevant resident of New York State who has the right to live a quality of life with access to TBI appropriate interventions. We want to thank Attorney March Gallagher, Senator Michelle Hinchey, and Town of Hurley Council person Peter Humphreys for their dedication to TBI and to Team Hannah. Thank you.
Thank you. this is, as we've said, so many people like Hannah are in the shadows in this situation and have been for decades. And there's been a lot of people working behind the scenes to elevate it. And the least we can do is make sure that as a state, we are recognizing these challenges and working as hard as we possibly can to overcome them so that people like Hannah and for the future of Hannah's life don't have to continue to work through these barriers. Next, I'd like to invite Attorney General March Gallagher to speak. March has taken on Hannah's case pro bono and serves as Hannah and Catherine's counsel and advocate. March, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Senator Hinchey. I first became aware of Hannah's injury after her accident and as I was following along in her recovery. But during the pandemic, I could see through social media just how difficult things were for the family. And although I serve as the elected county controller and I'm an attorney admitted to practice in New York State, and I have an ethical obligation to provide a certain amount of pro bono work each year, on that basis, I reached out to the family to see how I could assist. Regular citizens should not need the involvement of a state senator and a private attorney to access the services they need from OPWDD. It was only after Senator Hinchey and I began working with Hannah Berryan's family did we learn that the OPWDD Medicaid waiver could actually pay for a service seizure dog and for residential farm community placement. Yet even with our help, unlocking these services has proved to be insurmountable hurdles. Thousands of New Yorkers with traumatic brain injuries lack the opportunity for community-based treatments that would improve the quality of life and actually save taxpayer dollars. I'm just going to use as an example the seizure dog. If Hannah had a seizure service dog, there are possible hospitalizations that could have been avoided. My client is tremendously appreciative of Senator Hinchey's bill. This bill will encourage OPWDD to examine the full range of services available to all New Yorkers with TBI. Thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you, March. It's true, we talk so much about access to healthcare and how healthcare is a human right. But if we don't provide those services, if we don't even know what types of services are provided, if we don't understand or know the barriers to get these services that people have a right to, we are not serving people in the way that they need to be, and we are certainly not living up to the creed that healthcare is a right. Now, I'd like to invite Barry Dane, Board President of the Brain Injury Association of New York State, to speak about the work of his very important organization and the need to improve TBI care here in New York State.
Thank you, Senator Hinchey. I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and work with you all. This bill that's being proposed is a long time coming. The Brain Injury Association has been advocating and supporting and providing education to families and individuals with brain injury for nearly 40 years. And this is the first opportunity that I've seen in my career that will bring OPWDD and DOH, the two largest service delivery systems for individuals with traumatic brain injury in our state. To date, there are many unmet needs. The biggest one is housing, and that's been touched on already. And the DOH waiver system has individualized apartment housing. The OPWDD has group home housing. Yet, if I'm 25 years old, I cannot access group home housing. If I'm 16 years old, it's very difficult to get into independent housing and various other supports. There is a myriad of services available, but the communication between the two systems does not happen. We are very excited and will continue to support this bill in any way we can. And we look forward to the promise that individuals throughout our state will get the services that they deserve. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you, Catherine. This is it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. And we look forward to more.
Thank you, Barry. And thank you for everything that your association does. As we've said so many times, it's people in our communities living with disabilities that are overlooked. And especially, we don't talk nearly enough about TBIs, traumatic brain injuries. And as we've said, they can come from sports, high school sports, elementary school sports, any kind of sports. They can come from car accidents. They can come from a trip and a fall. They can come from anything. And it's something that we need to know more about. And we need to be making sure that anyone who sustains this through, especially an accident, doesn't have to have their entire lives turned upside down, and that they have the dignity to live a full life with respect and to be able to remain in these amongst their family and the people who love them. And finally, for our speakers today, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Hurley Town Board member Peter Humphreys, who has been an incredible advocate and support system for Hannah and Catherine throughout the years, and I know has been helping them tremendously with this life shift in leaving our community. Peter, over to you. You are muted, Peter.
There we go. Does everybody have me now?
Great.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right.
Hannah gives you the thumbs up.
Okay. This is one of the problems I have for everybody that's on here and watching this. I have a TBI myself. And like Michelle was just saying, after a 25-year career in professional auto racing, it ended my career in December of 2018. I've lived both Kate's life, and now I live, in a sense, Hannah's life, which fits me in here pretty good to understand both of them. And I've actually fallen in love with them both. I've lived Kate's life. In 2012, my wife was diagnosed with brain cancer. I took care of her for her last 5 years of her life, 24/7, for 5 years straight, kind of like what Kate does on a daily basis. She's way more amazing than even I thought I was. And now I live the way Hannah's life, in a way that we live with these difficulties every day. I really call both of them, and even anyone with this, true warriors, because we don't give up. We keep going every day, and we fight through it. We really need this bill to pass. We need it. Not only for Hannah and everybody else, but myself. I have a lot of difficulties. And, as you can even see on here, I have my moments. I find my brain like a computer, that part of it's broken and a lot of it works perfectly fine. It's a daily struggle. And as I see with Hannah, but this is really, I'm so happy and thankful for Michelle and March and everyone else involved to help Hannah and Kate. They are absolutely the most amazing people I've ever met in my life, and they absolutely deserve this to be able to move on forward. They are wonderful, wonderful people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter, and thank you for sharing your personal story with us and with everyone today. It's important to recognize too the scope of TBIs, right? This runs the gamut in need, and it can affect so many people in our communities that we don't even know, that they may not know, and people who you interact with every day could be going home and facing the struggles, Peter, as you've talked about. And so we're incredibly passionate about this bill and about this solution to at least start to get us the answers that we need to be able to move forward and be able to move life forward for so many people across our communities. I want to thank you all for joining us today. It is my deepest hope that no family in New York State ever has to go through what Hannah and Catherine have had to in order to obtain the health services that they need. But we know that this is a situation facing so many families across the state. I want to especially thank Hannah and Catherine for being here with us today and for joining us and for sharing their story so openly. Hannah, thank you for joining us and for persevering through everything. And Catherine, for you for coming forward and for being such a staunch advocate for your daughter and for people all over with traumatic brain injuries. Without the both of you and without sharing your story, we would not be here today. We would not be moving this bill forward and really this topic forward without your just incredible advocacy in this space. So I'm proud to know you both, and I'm proud to continue our work together to get this bill passed and to raise awareness about traumatic brain injuries in New York State. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.